Good morning, and thank you for attending the 2020 edition of Italian Design Day and today's presentation, Design for a Better Future. My name is Valeria Rumori, and I'm the director of the Italian Culture Institute in Los Angeles. We're very happy to present this online webinar with the Consulate General of Italy in Los Angeles. The webinar is part of the official program for Design Day 2020, Drawing the Future, Development, Innovation, Sustainability, Beauty. We're very delighted to start this event with opening remarks from the Consul General of Italy, Silvia Chiave. We're also very lucky to have our expert panelists, Mattia Biagi, artist and designer, Giulio Cappellini, designer, Rossana Orlandi, design gallerist and curator. I would sincerely like to extend my gratitude to all of the participants for their precious collaboration in making this event possible. The event format will begin with a short video by the Venetian architects and product designers and 2020 ambassadors of design for Los Angeles, Pio and Tito Toso, who unfortunately were unable to come to Los Angeles this year. We're very grateful for their collaboration and for sharing their video with us today. The video will be followed by remarks from the Consul General of Italy, Silvia Chiave. Next, Mattia Biagi will introduce the panelists, Giulio Cappellini and Rossana Orlandi. They will discuss sustainable design issues in a post-COVID world. After their discussion, there will be a Q&A session with the public. Please use the Q&A section of Zoom to ask your questions. Now, without any further delay, let's please enjoy the brief video message from Pio and Tito Toso, 2020 Design Ambassadors for Los Angeles, followed then by remarks from Consul General of Italy, Silvia Chiave. Thank you.
Hello to everyone. We are the Industrial Design and Architectural Studio Pio and Tito Toso.
We are the 2020 Design Ambassador in Los Angeles. With pleasure, we make our best regards to Consul Silvia Chiave and to the Director of the Italian Culture Institute Valeria Rumori, and all to the Los Angeles public. We are making this video for the impossibility due to the pandemic to come to Los Angeles.
We are brothers. We are born in Venice, and in Venice we graduated in architecture. We work for several companies such as Artemide, Foscarini, Iguzzini, Vistosi and Venini for the lighting, and Guzzini, Pedrali, Alessi, La Palma, Metalco for the complement. We took part of exhibition in Europe and in the United States.
In our work, we follow more ethical and the less aesthetical line of research. We seek the ultimate meaning of a new product, its essence. We truly believe that the time we are living now requires a project in a more positive relationship with the human life and with the environment that hosts us. We present you some recent projects of our design studio to show you our design philosophy. This is the first project that we want to show you, the Tiara Collection.
Tiara Collection is a project designed for Fratelli Guzzini. Tiara is not just a new tableware collection. It is a revolution in terms of material and style.
Tiara is the first tableware collection made by recycling disposable water bottles. In other words, made from 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. With Tiara, we designed a new collection, non-single-use objects, which are people and environment friendly. positive opportunities for everyday life. The starting point of Tiara was to design a collection with a great value inside, the value of time. With Tiara, we have designed a collection that speaks of the quality of handmade objects that are born from the earth, such as the terracotta vases. Tiara, as drawn by a craftsman, with all the beauty of an object as if made by hand. Tiara Collection is composed of several bowls of different size, jug for water and glasses, 3 different sizes of tray, and other different products.
The next project we wanted to present to you is the Add-Ons Tool designed for La Palma. Add-on, 2 products in one, a stool and a side table.
2 value-added features, comfort and functionality. It was born generous, attentive and dynamic. You could call it a friend, one of the family, a stool and a table all in one. It is an elegant and functional solution for all the contexts, reducing space and highlighting privacy. It has an embracing seat and a metal core giving rise to a column that becomes a swivel tabletop. A different height also with a footrest. Add-on is the ideal solution for our work, meeting and relaxing needs. The next project we want to present to you is the Meteorite collection designed for Artemide.
Meteorite originates from the pursuit of new sensibility and new expressive language for lighting blue glass.
The starting point was our fancy for Venetian beaten glass, for the gritting effect and for the strong charm of the unfinished feel that such kind of process brings to glass. We designed a special glass blowing and grinding process which allows to obtain impressive lighting depth in the illuminated object and to make this beauty accessible, or we might say democratic. The next project we present to you is the Icon collection designed for the Petrali company. With its timeless and clean shape, Icon talks the languages of architecture. Icon, born from our research of synthesis between beauty and functionality. It born from a research of reduction of the elements and simplicity, but not a banal simplicity, a simplicity full of evocative power. The table is with conical base, made of injection molded polypropylene in different sizes and finishes.
The next project is a urban design product, the 3-line collection designed for Mattia. We love to design urban projects because we believe in the transforming power of design and creativity to improve our cities and make the better place to live in.
The 3-line collection can evaluate the quality of the social relation that public area can generate. 3-line can stimulate interaction between people. The collection integrates the function of the seats with the function of the plant guard and the function of container of the greenery. It allows to design ever new space, thanks to the numerous articulation possibility of the various modules.
So welcome again everybody to the Italian Design Day. So today we're celebrating Italian design, which is one of our most renowned excellencies all over the world. I don't want to talk much about design because it is not my field, and we have our special guest today that will go into it. But I think that an important thing to say is that never like today, design is a game changer. It has always been called to respond and adapt to changes in our world, and now more than ever, because the COVID crisis has forced every industry and every field to evolve and to rethink, not only in the short term, but also in the long term about concepts and strategies. Now, this is particularly true for design, because design is everywhere. Design is how we communicate, is what we touch, is where we sleep, where we eat, how we do everything in our everyday life. And, you know, I have a designer in my family. My brother is a designer. So I've witnessed personally how this shift has corresponded to a sense for them of increased responsibility as designers, because design is in the front line to make the world a better place. And that's what we will talk about today. Now we'll soon leave the floor to Mattia Biagi, our moderator and host of the debate, that will introduce our guests, Giulio Cappellini and Rossana Orlandi, whom I want to warmly thank for having accepted this invitation and for being today here with us. So Mattia is an artist. He's a designer with decades of experiences and knowledge in this part of the world and in the sector of design. His creativity is unlimited. I remember the first time we talked about things we could do together, he had so many ideas that I had to take notes. So he created installations all over the world, from Dubai from Abu Dhabi to Tokyo to Los Angeles. He's collaborated with the most important design companies here in the West Coast, Italians, most of all. He has been brand ambassadors for prestigious brands. And after having worked for 18 years with some of these very renowned design companies in the West Coast, he founded Studio Dardo. And with Studio Dardo, he creates incredible houses and projects all over here in LA and in this area. For this reason, he's been a de facto great ambassador and testimonial of Italian design here in Los Angeles. And I really hope our collaboration will go further and further. Now, thank you for this, Mattia. Thank you for organizing this, for helping us out with this event. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you. So thank you, Silvia. Thank you, Valeria. I'm very honored to host this event specific with two important icon figures like Giulio and Rossana, that they've been part of my personal formation. With Giulio, I have more than 2 decades of history. And with Rossana, I had an opportunity to show a couple of work during the Salone del Mobile. So thank you so much. So let me briefly introduce them, because we can spend the day just talking about them and the accomplishments that they've done in their life. So Rossana is own Spazio Rossana Orlandi in Milan and in Portocervo. Her gallery is considered one of the most important design galleries in the world and major destination for the past 18 years. And she worked with the most brilliant mind of design. Rossana comes from a family of working industrial textile production. For many years, she's worked as a consultant for some of the most fashionable icon brands, such as Giorgio Armani, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Gianni Versace, and Vivienne Westwood. She's nominated as one of the 200 most important people in the international design community. And she's gifted with the ability to spot creative talent before others do. Since 2019, with her daughter, Nicoletta Orlandi Brugnoni, firmly convinced that plastic is not guilty, because guilty are the abuse and misuse of this material. She created RO Guilt Design, RO Guiltless Plastic, the international project to spread with creatives all over the world to use recycled plastic. And part of this project is the RO Plastic Prize. So a lot to say about that. Giulio studied architecture in Polytechnic University of Milan. During his studies, worked at Gio Ponti Studio. His work focused mainly on industrial design, promotion, and direction for companies including Cappellini, Ceramica Flaminia, and Icon Luce. He's the art director and the brand ambassador for Istituto Marangoni, School of Design, and Super Studio Pio. He's holds seminary and teaches some of the most important university and design school around the world. He's organized exhibition about Italian design at Museum Maxi in Rome, Palazzo Reale in Milan, the Embassy of Italy in Milan, Paris, Prague, and Saatchi Gallery in London. So thank you so much to join me on this conversation about design for a better future. So let me start immediately saying that obviously we live in a situation that we're not going back. So now everything is changed and we are looking at this change very closely, specific you to being directly involved. So Giulio, how do you see the change of the space that we live into? Like now kitchen become office, office become other opportunity to meet people. So how do you see this change in our everyday life?
So hello to everyone, and yes, thanks Mattia for this very interesting question. But you know, I think that this pandemic period really just make more hard some changes that they were already in there. That means that in the last few years, really, there were a lot of changes. The way we live, the way we work, in the way we spend our. I think that the role of the house became already in the past more hybrid. That means the approach to the use of the house was completely different, like the approach to the way that we work. No? Now, with this situation, for sure, this changement is more strong, more hard, and for sure, this changement is not only for this period, but for sure, it will be from now to the future. I mean that, for example, during this period, we discovered that it's not necessary to spend 10, 12 hours in the office. We can work in our office, we can work at home, we can work in a restaurant, we can work in a bar, we can work in a park. Why not? We discovered that also if the house is still the same, that means that the dimension of the apartment is still the same with the typical rooms, the living room, the dining room, the bathroom, the kitchen. But the role of each room is completely. But this is not something that happened today with the pandemic period. It's something that started to happen really years ago already. As you told Mattia, the kitchen is the house, is the room of the house where we cook, we work with our computer. Maybe our kids, they do their school things. We invite our friends taking an apero while we cook. The living room is no more just the formal room for our guests. No, it's just a very informal space where we spend time on these huge sofas that are no more classic sofas, but are really aisles where we can spend time with our family just to look at the TV, or we can meet our friends. The bathroom is no more a service room. As we now there is the wellness. Also, if we have a small balcony, meter by 1 meter, for us it's like to have a huge garden. And really, the division between indoor and outdoor is really less and less strong than in the past. In fact, I told before that really today, all the main companies, they don't have any more headquarters, but they have campus. In those campuses, they have also areas where people, they can spend time and they can work outside. So really, this changement is really very important. And for us that we work on design, on products, and not only on interiors, really is a huge challenge. The most important thing is really today to be very quick, to understand the new needs of the consumers and to try to give good. That means when you ask me how is changing the use of the spaces, we have to try to give a very good image also if the number of people that we see in spaces is less than before. For example, in a restaurant, maybe before we used to see 100 people. Now we see maybe 50 people due to the social distance. So we have to try to create in the same space a nice ambiance also if we have 50 people and no more 100 people. And the same is for public lounges, from airport or other spaces. And the same is for offices and so on. So I think that today there is really more and more attention from the final consumer, the end consumer, on the interior. Because for sure we have less and less social meetings and occasion. We travel less, so we spend more time in our places. That means in our home, in our office, and so and so. So again, I think that the period is terrible, but is a huge challenge for people who create objects for interior.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Rossana, I know that you've been involved in some major sustainability project and using recycled material and how did you see this new material that can help to prevent the spread of virus, or how this new material that we use to live this new flexible design with double function? What is how's your vision on this?
I think that now we can have a lot of new material. I speak of recycled material. For me, it's very important to speak of recycle because one of my points is no more waste. Waste is value. And I speak not only of plastic, but every kind of recycle. And in these 3 years, since I launched my raw guiltless plastic, I see a lot of new technology, new possibilities with extremely interesting results. I think that for the designer, it's very important to be involved in this kind of new material because they are part of sustainability. And the designer, yes, because we don't speak only of sustainability, we speak of responsibility. It's very important to be responsible. And from the designer, really we ask, they are involved in these new materials with so many possibilities and with a new effect. It's a shame I can show my table, but it's fantastic. It's a recycle, of course, yes. And I think this horrible time we are living anyway gives a huge possibility of reinvent a new project of changement, about the changement of our life. And there are so many really interesting subjects where we can be involved. For example, speaking of Italian, I have to mention what a design can be important, because we don't speak only of a design of furniture or something like that, but with the design, everything is done at the moment. Nothing happens without the design. And I want to mention the importance of this Italian design, which created Charlotte Valve. I don't know if you know about this, but the COVID has been so important because with the input of Renato Fallero, they have created an incredible, very simple valve which help people with a mask which is possible to reproduce all over the world, and with extremely generosity, they have, after they registered the project to avoid any kind of speculation, this project is free for all the world, and with this valve, they save so many people and they are in use all over the world. And this is an Italian project. So I'm so proud to speak of how important Italian design is. So this opportunity during COVID is to create everything at the moment, because I agree with Giulio that we change our style of life. We need another concept of to create a new object. Our life needs much more new stimulation. I mean, for example, COVID take off from our life the emotion. We are very surrounded by paura, by fear, but we need emotion. We have to come back to what is so important for our life. And with the design, we can create emotion, start proposing a new way to live the space with the possibility to change, to be comfortable, to be covered by our house. Our house, it's becoming more important because we have understood how important it is to lock our door and live in our space in a new way, in a more complete and with a much more with heart, because we need to be coccolate, we say in Italian. We need, yes, to say, I close my door, keep away of what make me frightened. And we need really new concept of a new proposal with a much more not only comfortable, but with we can use in many ways. For example, once we have a table, now it's not anymore a table, it becomes a desk, it becomes, yes, the place, yes, and the table where we study, the table is where we spend the most part of the day. And another point, the chair is not anymore the chair we used to sit down for lunchtime, but I think we spent the most part of the day. So the chair in the house needed to be different. So many changements, but everything we should give emotion. Because for me, the emotion is the most important thing which we can do, and with a collectible, we really give a lot of emotion. We try to give what we need in this moment. We need to feed our soul. And when I speak of collectible, I, for example, think that one of the examples of collectible, which for me has been very, very interesting. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get in time, are the carpets designed by Virgil Abloh and sold by IKEA. Do I pronounce it correct? IKEA?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that is a collectible piece. And it's a universal collectible design. The meaning that a number then finished make you so proud when you can get it and give you a lot of emotion, more than a normal piece. And
let me see, Giulio, how you see this thing, because you know, obviously Giulio is industrial design, and you, Rossana, are more like a collectible design. So how these two forces, they're gonna join, they're gonna divide more, we're gonna see more a division, or we're gonna see more a collaboration between these two forces?
But you know, I think that really what Rossana told about emotion is really absolutely very, very important. Because yes, for sure, Rossana represents the collectible design, or the artistic design. I represent more the industrial design. But I think that today, really, to tell what is one, the other, it became really very, very difficult. Like to say which is the limit between decoration and design. In the past, we had the decor that was one part of the interior, and design that was a completely different. So design was against decor. Now they go together, absolutely. I think that as Achille Castiglioni, the great Achille Castiglioni, one of the most important inspiration person that we had here in Italy in design, was used to say that the role of design And so the role of designer was really to create beautiful and useful products. But mainly the role of a designer is to make people dreaming and smiling. And this is absolutely very important. So in the past, for sure, collectible design and industrial design, there were two completely different things. And also, if the design was considered high design, it means high price. This is absolutely not true today. You can find beautiful objects for an affordable price. I think that the most important thing is really to work on real time design. When I think to the young generation that they have to furnish their home with a small budget, okay, maybe they buy an expensive product, but after they like to have one collectible piece or one design object that is part of the history of design, because this make them quite strong. This is very important. And I think that this is again something that is important in design, because the real design create timeless products. Design maybe create bestsellers, good design create long sellers. And I think that for people, for the end consumer to see the market after 10, 20, 30 years, maybe in a different color or with a different fabric, the same product is a sort of guarantee. Because people, they say, wow, if this product is still in the market, it's because it is good. So I spend my money in a proper way. Another thing that really join collectible design and industrial design, Rossana was, she's doing really a fantastic job about recycled materials. And in the past, we are thinking that maybe these recycled materials, they were too much and not so beautiful. Today, we have beautiful recycled materials. And also, when we speak about this, we have not only to think about materials, but is a problem is in a company 360-degree concept. This means from the way that you work, from the ambiance where you work, to the kind of material that you use. So again, just to answer finally to your question, really, I think that there is no more link between design. We are speaking about design. And also, the thing that we have to do is today also to bring design in what they call the new countries. Maybe that the countries, they don't have a so strong history in design. But these countries, the people living in these countries, the young generation, really they want to be confident with design. They want really to know about design. That's why I always say that I'm very happy when I see a design product in a museum, but I'm more than happy when I see a design product into people's homes and into people's office. I don't take care if it's an industrial product designed by Castiglione or a beautiful collectible object that Rossana has in her gallery. For me, it's exactly the same. The most important thing is that people, they have not to be afraid about design. Design, as again, as I told before, design is to make people smiling and dreaming. I don't know, Rossana, if you agree with this my point of view. Okay, yes.
Unfortunately, I couldn't understand all what you said.
Yeah, the audio is sometimes broken
The
up.
audio sometimes.
Sorry.
Yes, wasn't
Try to
very.
No,
I think that for sure, between industrial design and collectible design, there is a wonderful dialogue. Absolutely. I don't see, it's so beautiful now, industrial design, honestly, that you can find the amazing pieces. And particularly, there are a lot of reproduction of the big designer. You can find the Joe Ponti piece in industrial production, which is fantastic. And the dialogue between collectible and industrial, it's fantastic because I think that in certain way, industrial, collectible design, it's more emotional, it's more unique. It's something which you say, well, I can have it. It's a sort of meta where you want to revive. But still the dialogue between collectible and industrial is so beautiful, is so strong, so possible, that I think that it's necessary to use industrial and collectible. I mean, it's a sort of co-housing. Absolutely.
I have to say, sorry, that today there are many designers that they work just on industrial products for mass production, and at the same time, they also work on limited edition on unique pieces. So you see, there is again, as before, we have to speak about design. There is no more, it's a big difference like in the past, you know?
And also we have a use of the technology, Giulio, now that really allowed us to create and to do project way faster than we were doing before, if I'm not wrong. So
yes, absolutely. You too, you are an artist and you do you work even for the factory. And I think that when a designer is good and he's got a lot of potential, it's a shame if he doesn't go into industrial as well, because their creativity, I don't think needs any limit, but to be in both of the way, it's to share. I think that we have to share, to give, and to experiment their potential creativity in all the fields. Why not? For example, I've seen in the short video, we have seen from the architect one piece which is super commercial. It's in a big distribution, but it's good. It's fantastic.
I think it's essential because we you know, like our job, like me, like a designer, and you, is to really facilitate and give power to people with an object. So an object, and we are living life with our senses. So even right now that I'm drinking the water and I feel the plastic versus the glass, more the marble table, these are all experience that we experience every single moment, especially like, you know, design is all about the senses. So there's a way that we can, right now with COVID, I feel that, I speak personally, a lot of senses are being...
What's happened?
It's like my ghost. No, I was saying that through this COVID, I feel that a lot of our senses are being put on a side because you have the mask, so you can really feel all the smell, the touch. You are afraid of touching things. So that also is bring me to experience design in a different way. So I'm hoping that the future will be find a solution for these things as well.
Don't you think that COVID, because we have much time, COVID awake sensibility, we lost that. And we have got time to think more deeply of what is our life, what is important in the life. I think that in the terrible experience, we learn a lot. But in this
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, Rossana, because also I think that really in the last few years we really made things. Now I think that during this period we understood that we have to do less things, but more beautiful things. Absolutely. I think that really we run too much, and I think that really our approach to life, our approach to work now is completely different, and I think that is very good. And the same is in design, the same is in fashion, because in design, in fashion, a new collection every 6 months. In design, a new collection every year. You have no time to put a collection in the market.
Not 6 months, 3 months.
Yes.
More than this and that. And even our life was running, taking the flight, go here, go there. Why? We can be all over in the world without to take our flight to run, and it's different. It's I discovered here a new word, a new way to
Sure.
live, much more interesting, which much more deeper deepness in my way to think and to live.
But even in the sense of quality of objects and stuff, I think so that more and more we want more quality objects surround ourselves.
Absolutely.
Just, you know, so.
Sorry, it's wonderful. We are from Milano, speaking with you in Los Angeles. Do you feel that we are not together? I think that we are together. I don't feel the distance. I don't feel.
No, maybe we need to shake our hands, but anyway, we can try to do better. For sure, in this period, we have more time to deeply think and to speak each other. I know that during this period, maybe with people that normally I was used to spend just 2 minutes on the phone, now I spend half an hour or maybe 1 hour. And also for myself, I have more and more time to stop and think. I think that again, on one side, people are expecting by us quick answer because we cannot give to the new way of living answers in the next 10 years. No, we have really to be quick. But on the other side, I think that really we have to think, and also if in the past we made something good, maybe we have to rethink this kind of objects. Because again, speaking about what is new, to be contemporary, to work on innovation, I think that today really this is less maybe for collectible design, but more for industrial design. To invent new shapes is really very, very difficult. I mean that maybe the most beautiful shapes have already been designed in the 50s, in the 60s, but today we can use new materials, new textures, new production system. And so sometimes I always say that instead to do absolutely a new product, we can find new ways to promote old products. Because I think that today for design, and this is for collectible design and for industrial design, the most important thing is really to work on communication, to show to the end consumer, to show to the people what there is on the back of a real project. You don't create a real product in a few hours, no. It takes time, it takes months, it takes years, and you have to suffer. Sometimes you think that the product is okay, is ready, and you have to restart from zero. This is the most important thing. In this way, we can create barrier from what is a real design and copies of fake design. We have really to give all this kind of information to the end consumer, to the people. Sometimes we say, people are buying copies of original design. People, they buy copies because they don't know the original design. So we have really to work a lot in this communication.
Sorry, are you sure they don't know the original? I think they know very well, but it's a price question.
Yeah, but you know, Rossana,
the amazing, beautiful houses, copy of the design, but then perfectly from where do they
I think
and that
you know,
makes me so crazy.
Sorry, Rossana, being to the other part of the world and experience Italy and the US market as well. I have to say that when I moved to Los Angeles like 18, 19 years ago, and I was like with Cappellini at the time, I remember nobody really pretty much know who's the designer. Like we were talking about, you know, top designer name. Nobody had the education at the time. More and more now, there's people that are way more educated, so there's appreciation of these old masterpiece that we start to see it in this market, and the recognition of the vintage, if we want to call it like these pieces. And a lot of company, I see they now put in production pieces from the 50s, from the 60s, from the 70s.
Said before.
Because probably they realize that there's a big market and can't just go vintage all the time. So putting that pieces back in production would be an interesting move. So.
Anyway, yes, no. This is absolutely true, because also sometimes there are fake products today, and there were fake products in the past. Because today, you know, we speak about Gio Ponti, but in the market you can find a lot of real Gio Ponti stuff and a lot of fake Gio Ponti stuff. Anyway, I think that thinking to Now, the theme of today, that is design for a better future, is really, we have to teach to people what is the real design. And again, I think that, because I think that if you live in a beauty, with beauty, you can really live better. You can be more creative. If you work surrounded by beauty, you can work better. How you can work in a proper way if your office is terrible, is horrible, if it's dark, if there is not the right light, and so. So the real role of design today is to have new ideas. It's not really to create again hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new stuff. No, which is the role of design today and in the future, to solve the problems, to give new ideas to the people. And really during this period, a lot of people, as Rossana was saying, when you sit 1 hour in your chair around the just for lunch, you say, okay, it's comfortable. When you have to spend 10 hours because you work at home, you understand that you need maybe a more comfortable chair. The same for the surface of the table, and so and so. So I really think that, again, we have for the future, and really in this moment, because it's a gray moment for all the things that we told before, we have really to give beauty to the people. And I think that both collectible and industrial design, really they can really give as a gift beauty to the people.
And more, Rossana, I think so. This is like where we talked about a couple of times about neurodesign, and you were very,
exactly, is what
I was very fascinating on your conversation about that. I think so that replied very well with what Giulio was saying.
Yeah, I think that it's really the moment of neurodesign, which is the way to project simulating our brain, creating the perfect physical and psychological condition for giving us emotion, not only for the heart, but for the brain. Because it's very important to create objects and spaces which when you get into, you feel, wow, you feel good, you feel good, it's right. And it's very important as well to think how the moment you live is conditioning your way to think. For example, I always love Spigoli, how to say, square objects. Now, since I'm living in COVID, I love round. I like a round table, I like a round chairs, armchairs. Why this? Because I don't want anything which might hurt me. So this is a consequence of the moment we live. Super important that this neurodesign you thinking help you a lot to think a new way of project, how to think to the project. Anyway, we have a situation, that space that makes us in a different way. We need the design, which seriously, what we need is new. It's a new, because before we didn't need so much that surrounded us so important. So yes, the suggestion, we need a neurodesign, the synthesis, because otherwise I'm get lost. But it's, when I've got a big emotion, it becomes difficult to talk and to explain, but we need really in a different way. House has been super important. We know how to live in a home, but I wonder when COVID will be over, will be houses. We shouldn't remember our house that we came, but a fabulous place, which I want to go on, creating new atmosphere. They need that. And the house is inside, outside. For sure, we'll come to be together. And we need, anyway, COVID changes definitely, which will not be again the same, not live in the same way, because of this huge experience in.
Yeah, and you know, there's an interesting question here that I see. They opened the Q&A. There's a Marcel van der Studio that we all like know very well, and we admire them. There's a question that I think is interesting, since there's a lot of young generation of designers that they follow us, and you know, and the question is what important value we should wish or advice to the next generation of designer. And I think so right now, some of these values are being changed and some they're being more evaluated. So I think this is a good moment to see what are the values to move forward, like a designer or like an artist. What are your, you're talking about this, Giulio, what do you think?
But, you know, I think that, first of all, I think that to be professional and to be very passionate about, to work with a lot of passion, this is absolutely very, very important. And also, as I told before, the advice that I can tell to the young generation, to the young designer or to the student is that they have to do less things but good things, and also they have to follow products like babies, from the first idea to the final product to the communication. It's not to do a real product, you have to use your hands too. You have to know the materials, you have to follow the prototypes. Is to do a new project is not only to do just a nice render where everything looks beautiful. No. You have, first of all, to try to understand which are the new needs of people, and the needs of today and the needs of tomorrow. After that, you have to start to work with your creativity, but again, few things, but good things. Every year, during the Design Week in Milano, in April, we see 20,000 new products. After 1 month, we remember about 50 products. This means there are too many things in the market. And again, we don't need, and this is my advice for the young generation, really, we need of ideas. We don't need of products. And again, another important thing is that today is not enough to design a single product, a table, a chair, a sofa. We have to try, and also more and more after this period, to create new landscapes. New landscapes that they can be residential landscapes, can be public spaces, can be lounges, and so and so. For sure, in these landscapes, there are products, but the most important thing is to try to give a suggestion to the people how to live, how to work. So on the other side, I say that for sure is very to do design today is really not easy, but is a fantastic challenge. And the last thing that I want to say to the young generation, don't believe when people they say that everything has been done in design. There are lot of new things to be designed, and you can find inspiration everywhere and from everything. That's it. This is my advice.
And Rossana, you're working with a lot of youngest. So.
I just to the young 2 points. First of all, I think that it's in the general opinion, we buy less but better, which is very important. Then what I can say to the young designer, help us not to lose emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. I live my life with, you know, full of emotion on everything. And I always believe that that is the power, the engine behind everything. And, you know, I don't know if because we are Italian, but it's part of our DNA. So a little bit of drama.
Without emotion, you can live like flowers without water.
Sure. We are dreamers.
No,
we are absolutely dreamers, and we want to be more and more in the future, absolutely. If we are not dreamers, we can go ahead.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, a part of the childness as well, the enthusiasm idleness.
And also, I think that we have the privilege doing our job, that we don't need to speak too much, but really we can show to the people what we think just doing things. Rossana showing projects, choosing the right new designers, the right new artists, and for us to produce the right stuff and to choose again the right designer. I always say that if we spend more than 30 words, to explain what we are doing, is because we are not 100% convinced of what we are doing. That's why I think that really this is something fantastic. Doing our job, we can really show to the people what we dream, what we think, just doing things.
I think it's great, and for me that I'm a little bit on both sides, because some days I'm just an artist and designer, and other days I'm more like a studio d'art or more like an interior designer. It's very fascinating to see how you can create your recipe, and you both produce a lot of incredible ingredients that people that create in their own house, their own living, they can use and mix and constantly change your atmosphere just with color, with texture, chair in leather more than in fabric. Is so fascinating and is inspiring how to see how the same place can constantly change just with your imagination and with the right product mix. And doesn't mean that has to be a super high expensive product all the time, but it's the balance of the ingredient that I think is fundamental. So.
Absolutely. So, Mattia, you are very contemporary. You are an hybrid because you are on both sides. You are designer and you are artist. So you are really very, very contemporary. Absolutely. Again, today, no limits between. The most important thing is really to do good things and again to give good answers to the people needs. That's it. And so Rossana, before she was speaking about her new needs of more rounded shapes and so, and they're really incredible. If you look around today, when we speak about design and the changement of design, you can find this kind of changement in everything and everywhere. Because when you look today, in the past, design was really very, very square. Now it's getting more and more rounded. Look at the cars. They were very, very square. Now they are getting more rounded. Look at all the technological products, from the cell phone to the computer and so also to the equipments also for our kitchen and so everything is more rounded, more soft. Look how the perception of color has changed. Sometimes people, they say, today color is back like in the 80s. No, it's absolutely not true, because in the 80s we were used to use very, very strong colors. And so today we want more soft colors. We want to create the atmosphere. The use of the light today, again, in private spaces or in public spaces, is completely different. It's more soft. It's not, you don't have these strong lights that kill everything. They don't kill atmosphere. Everything is more smooth, more quiet. This means to give wellness to the people. This is the part of design that Rossana was speaking before.
Yeah, you're right. Light are super important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also more and more.
Sorry.
So go ahead, Rossana. I think we have a echo, so go ahead.
No, I was saying that who does atmosphere is really lights, because light is a protagonist of the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
also, sorry. incorporating the outside into the living more and more now, especially with this situation, it became fundamental.
Sure. And also, the perception of colors and the different perception of lights and colors in different parts of the world, because the perception of the same color, if you are in London, with the natural light is really very yellow, is completely different if you are in Miami, where the natural light is very white. Also, this is very important. That means we have to take care, we have to, for sure, to create objects that they can be everywhere in the world. But we have to look to the future, but we have not to kill our history. We have to take care of the local culture. Again, this is very important, because it's not true that under the umbrella of international style, everything is the same worldwide. No, I think that for me, the most important thing to travel in a real way or in a virtual way is always to get a surprise. I remember that last year we were very lucky with Rossana. We were in Prague for a design contest, and it was fantastic because the materials, the colors, the touch you can have in that city, it was completely different that you can find in London or in Milan. Do you agree, Rossana, with this?
Absolutely, perfect.
And this is fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's true.
Yeah, and that is that when really you open up your senses and not focus to see the window of a certain store that can be the same all over the world, but it's the surrounding. That is really change, and there's no way to copy that surrounding everywhere. That's where you should really absorb when you travel. At least that's what I do. Exactly what you were saying, Giulio.
You know, Mattia, you see that again, speaking about changements, in the past, fashion stores worldwide, they were of a brand, they were all the same. Hotels, parts of a chain, they were all the same worldwide. Now, really, they take care of the local culture, because when I arrive in a new city, I see the first thing that I see is the airport, the second is the hotel. For me, it's very important when I enter in a hotel to understand if I'm in Doha, Qatar, I am in Oslo or in Miami or in LA. So this is very important. Local culture, local tradition is absolutely important because it's part of ourselves. That's why I think that for me, when I see a design product or a collectible product, it's very important to understand if that object was designed by an Italian designer, a Japanese designer, an American designer. This is absolutely, it's part of ourselves, of our history, of our culture. Otherwise, if you kill this, we became really computers, and this is not the designer for the future. Technology helps design, but technology has not to kill creativity.
And Rossana, you have a background in fashion, so there's a good question here from our friends here, and what is your opinion about fashion brand gapping in the furniture business? This is a question for both of you.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So, what is your thought about fashion brand getting in the furniture design business?
Okay, sometimes very good, sometimes better forget about.
You know, I think that really I'm open to everyone. The most important thing is that people speak and became more curious about design. No? So if for sure the fashion brands are very well known, more and more than the design brands. So I think that if these help people to be more close to design, it's okay. It's like IKEA that is doing design. Is for me, I don't see IKEA like an enemy. No, I like to mix also maybe products, design products or collectible products with some IKEA products. The customers are the same. The prices of IKEA are more democratic and accessible about it. For me, the most important thing is, and this I agree when Rossana, when she says sometimes yes, sometimes no. That's me. For some fashion brands, I see that there is a strong identity, the same identity that I see in the fashion collection, I can see also in the furniture collection. For some other brands, there is absolutely no identity. One story is fashion, and then, okay, they go to a company, they say, pay me the royalties and use my name. But I'm 100% sure that the creative team of the fashion company is absolutely not involved into the creativity of furniture. That's it. For sure, when I see Missoni Home is really like Missoni Fashion. Some other brands, I see a huge difference, and that we can live without in some cases also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giulio, when you will start your fashion collection?
No, that was my last question.
Rossana, they ask me so many times, but no, now I'm doing some bags and trolleys, And so, no, they asked me so many times, but you know, it's so difficult because I think that really, again, you cannot do everything, no? I don't believe in these people that they do from shoes to cabinets to sofas and so on. No. So really, sometimes they ask me about fashion, about perfume, about many things, but no, I think that I prefer for the moment to be concentrated on design objects. Maybe in my next life I can think about that, no? Because if we are many times, maybe I have a long list of things that I want to do in my next life. This can be one of those.
Fantastic. Very good. So I think so we are ready to say hello to everybody. I think so that we had a very good conversation, and again, thank you so much to Valeria, to Silvia, to everybody that helped us to put this together. Rossana, Giulio, can be grateful of this day, is really good. So thank you so much, and let's say hello to everybody. Valeria is back.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you. And goodbye, everyone.
Thank you very much. It's been very interesting, and thank you to invite us, and again.
Good. And thank you very much again. And I hope that next time, really now we have a virtual apero for lunchtime and for dinner time for us. Here in Italy, I really hope that next time we can really have a drink all together. And anyway, viva il design and viva the Italian design. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Bye-bye.